Sparklers. Sparklers have sizzled on the party scene for decades, adding pyrotechnical glitter to weddings and birthday celebrations. They evolved from more traditional fireworks and are the only kind that the consumer can handle when lit. Lighting one definitely means excitement is in the air. The splash of flash can last a minute or more depending on the length of the sparkler. They start with steel wires that are about 19 inches long. They load bundles of them into slots of a sorting machine. The machine vibrates and the wires fall in single file into smaller openings. The operator then moves a spring-loaded wooden rack into position. It opens like the bellows of an accordion. The operator rocks the sorting machine overhead, and the wires drop into the slits of the rack, perfectly aligned. After 300 sparkler wires have fallen into position, the operator pulls a handle to close the rack. Now, clamped in the accordion-style rack, the wires are ready to move on to the next station. Wires for parade sparklers are much longer, 36 inches in fact, which means they're heavier than ordinary sparklers. The operator loads each of these wires manually into a rack that's larger and sturdier than the last one. This system of loading is a lot more time-consuming, but parade sparklers are worth the extra trouble because they'll have a longer burn time, up to 4 minutes. Next, an operator loads boric acid and barium nitrate into a big mixing tank. The barium nitrate is an oxidizer and will help the sparkler burn. The boric acid is a neutralizer. He adds water and mixes in cornstarch. It will bind all the ingredients together. Next, he pours in some very fine iron filings. These bits of iron will give the sparklers their gold color. The operator then suits up in protective gear and closes the door. He's the only one allowed inside to load the sparkler's most volatile ingredient, aluminum powder. Once mixed into the wet slurry, the powder is virtually harmless, and they don't need to take as many safety precautions. Chain conveyors now move the rack of sparkler wires into position. An elevator lifts up a tank of the sparkler slurry to dip the wires in it. The next rack of wires then moves forward for dipping. 286 racks of wires move through this dipping station every hour and 45 minutes. They go through a second dipping station for one more coating. The two coatings double the diameter of the wires. After each dip, wires ride an overhead rail through an oven to bake the sparkler slurry until it's hard. An inspector then examines each sparkler. She checks for cracks and defects. Any wire that's flawed will be rejected because these sparklers have to outshine the competition. It takes her about 3 minutes to examine the 300 sparklers on a rack. They check the diameter of each sparkler by sliding it through a template, and they bend it to check its integrity. The sparklers have been stored for a week prior to packaging to allow them to cure. And now they're ready for a party. And they're sure to be the center of attention.